Okay, well, we're going to check out some Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Now, if you watch my previous videos, I'm an absolute Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 fanboy. So when I heard the second one coming out, I was pretty pumped, and I played over the first game. Now, hilariously, that's had a fucking hilarious effect on my mind because I just suddenly don't really have a desire for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I will play it, but remember, I'm an old school hardened gamer, and I will play games there 2 years later. I still haven't done my Cyberpunk run, but I'm planning on it. But I like to savor gaming experiences, you know. So 2 years from now, I'll probably pick it up on sale and play the shit out of it. So, but let's look at some of the drama because I have thoughts. Now, of course, there is two scenes in question that have gotten lots of attention for Kingdom Come Deliverance. One is that you can fuck hands. Don't ask me how that they roped that one in, but it stirred a lot of internet controversy along the way. So we're gonna look at some of these topics, the regular places, Steam. We're look on Steam. We're gonna look around the internet, on Twitter, that kind of thing. Just generally see people's reactions. Now I had to watch this one today. Is hilarious. Oh, this is hilarious. So IGN has just been jacking themselves off over this for a while because this is, this is my personal opinion, okay? Did they maybe take some Embracer money and add some elements into the game that are considered woke? Yes, possibly. But in my opinion, these are the types of cases that, you know, it's almost like it doesn't even matter, right? It's like there, as far as I can tell, and we're gonna look into this, there's just a few scenes and questionable moments, and that's all people have reported. So it's not like you're like Veilguard flipping your dick around and fucking non-binary, all this shit. It's not like that. It's sneaky, and I called this months and months and months and months a fucking go. I said that they would be getting more sneaky with this, and what they're finding in this gaming industry is the general public hates this shit. They hate it, and they just, you know, the general public hates this woke shit. So if they're gonna put it in the games, they're gonna have to, slip stuff under the table, no pun intended, to these devs and make it a little bit more inclusive, but keep some of the gamer outrage down. That's my theory. That's at least, and that kind of seems what they done here. And I kind of called this going on. Jacking themselves off every day once the game is and that's what they do, is that these people, they want wins like this. So when IGN's editors are just fucking so much gay sex, when really we'll get into it. But no, you get people like John Delarose, who's fucking just making himself look like a dumbass online, and this, oh, look at that. This airbag is such a scumbag little fucking cunt. Oh, and then look at this guy, dear EGN. Nobody cares. The games are tired of this stuff and want that. Sincerely, gamers. So you get all kinds of people that don't even play games, are coming in, and this is a huge amount of outrage that people are getting over this scene. And for a game I'll probably pick up in a couple of years, and I love Kingdom Come, it's just probably not going to bother me much. And we'll know every detail. And let's look what's actually in the content. So obviously people are jumping on the fence. That Daniel Varva guy didn't help the situation because he's he's a little bit too sketchy of a dude to really trust that he didn't take some of that ESG money. I think you got to give the devs some credit. I think they pushed back, and I think that they made it a little bit more light than it could have been. Where you got a game like Veilguard where they're just like, oh, fucking trans surgery scars and fucking gay sex. And no, I like, most of this game is going to be fine. And you have now an industry where people who will just immediately, if there's anything gay or black in it, they're just not gonna play it. They're completely like that, and that's not right in my opinion. That's, I always go back to the Thing 1982, best movie ever made in my opinion. It's so good, features predominantly a black person child. Uh, does that, like, are you really gonna go there and say that anyone with any piece of media with another minority group in it is instantly bad? No, it shouldn't be that way. It's stupid. Gay Tony from GTA 4, best example ever. Wonderful character, but people are so there's so much vitriol and hatred going around nowadays that people don't really look at things like this. And I think that it's the true gamers who really know when something's like, there's something up. Now, like I said, there's something definitely up. And this is an interesting thread I came across on the Steam page. And what this is saying is, this is per person saying, okay, the game says it's woke, or is it not woke? People are confused about these things. So, you know, there's seemingly to me only two scenes that come into question. One, when you meet the merchant, Musa. Another, as far as I can tell, there's not just like, minority groups everywhere. When you look at like something like modern Star Wars, you got like, it's like 50% there. They calculate this shit. There's so much indoctrination in the real woke media that they do that stuff. What percentage of this group? What percentage of that group? Is there trans representation? Is there black representation? They go through these checklists, and you can see it in the media they make. So you really got to ask yourself, can people just a little confused? Are people just a little too easy to light the torch, like a bunch of peasants from the medieval era? I mean, you want to get into historical facts. There were probably people back then who engaged in sexual relationships in the medieval times. There were probably people who dressed up as women and cross-dressed. Obviously, they didn't have the advanced surgeries that we have today, but people are people. People are basically the same today as they were back then, in terms of general our consciousness. So stuff like this happened, but when you exclaim historical accuracy, you got to say, back then the church would have viewed it as a sin against God. You'd probably be punished, but people would have probably partook in it. Yet I don't know. So I think that in essence, I think that they took some of that money, and they agreed with Embracer Group, Daniel Varva and all the fucking the dudes working on it, and we're like, millions, we could get millions. We'll put in, a Muslim represented character. We'll let you write the dialogue. We'll put in a gay scene. We'll let you write the dialogue. That's it. That's as much as we're doing. And that kind of looks what happened. So, you got to really wonder with these fucks. It's a lot of speculation. But it seems people are very confused because they bring up this again. Lectures you on women's rights and oppression. Famous scene you've seen posted all over the internet. I haven't seen anything different than that. They make Henry gay. Henry hands want to be gay. They kind of had, in the first game, they had a little bit of that. They were... Henry in the first game is 100% straight. I mean, the way he's with Teresa and just the way he presents himself would 100% be straight. So they're going to make the, spoiler alert, I already spoiled this for myself, but he bumps his head. And if he becomes gay from that, fuck, whatever. If that's what you want to pursue. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't see a huge amount of... I don't see a huge amount of it. Yeah. And that might have just, the way that he said that, you gotta remember, people have always been condescending. So, it is a way. So, I mean, the Henry and Hans gay love thing, I mean, Maybe it was just a funny thing they thought to put in there to see how people react. You don't know these things. And you say it's good. So this is the Cabrutus Rambo DEI detected. Surely that's not the same one. DEI detected. But anyway, this might not be the official one, but this is why I'm proving the point. This is why these kinds of things like Cabrutus setup and whatnot is let's really assess what's in this. Okay, like let's break down the wokeness. You know, if you want to say what is woke, then let's look at the definitions of what it is. And I, for a fact, most gamers like me who are real gamers know that your sense of wokeness is alert. You know, if you walk into a game and you just can tell. You can just tell. You can just tell. Spider-Man 2, very woke. You know, if they've got like trans flags and shit in the game, you know it's down that level. Like that is just that. But you know, you go into this. So this says unskippable gay scene and a black African man that lectures Henry on how. See those two scenes once again. Daniel Varva, who doesn't help the situation, you know, he's an old school troll, you know, he probably all bourboned up 90% of the day anyway. So I mean, they updated it based upon responses from Daniel Varva, and everybody is saying, you know, he's like Daniel Varva is just a character, and you know, this is how this stuff gets into the industry. If they handed him, he's bragged about his wealth before, you know, taking pictures of, you know, how good successful they were on Kingdom Come Deliverance. If Embracer's shuffling him $2 million to do this, and everyone gets a cut of that throughout the office, you know, like they're gonna do it, you know. But it appears like what they've done is they very muchly concealed it within the story. Now let's take a look at Kingdom Come's things. I gotta say, graphics may be a little improved, but I was playing Kingdom Come 1 and I felt the graphics looked very much as good as this. Maybe there's some new scenery. You know, Kingdom Come Deliverance, like I said, was a very good looking game. Even today, let alone when it came out. You know, so you might get some nicer scenery here. It's really beautiful looking in some of these interiors. But these outside, to me doesn't look much different than how good Kingdom Come 1 looked. So they probably updated the engine a little bit. They probably increased some of this detail a little bit. And overall, it's a great engine. I loved Kingdom Come 1's engine. It appeared to run really, really good and look amazing. So they probably did some updates. Obviously, Henry's face has been improved. Things like that. But it's not going to be Kingdom Come 2.0. It's basically going to be Kingdom Come 1.9, in my opinion. So, I mean, it looks really, really good. It's a game I'm going to definitely play one day. But, you know, like, let's go around and just see some of the reviews, because you know they tamper with these reviews sometimes. But, I mean, the general thing, you know, good side quests, tons of it's gonna be glowing praises. It's gonna be just absolutely glowing. Definitely okay, this has got some spoilers. Let's go to all the reviews. View community hub. So if we go to the most helpful all time, you know, you have people who are saying things just glowing praise. Obviously, there's a lot of unhelpful reviews, but people have been just singing its praises. And you know, from a game like Veilguard, like you just don't get the same level of this praise. You know, obviously it's doing 180,000 people. It's not like 500k Black Myth Wukong numbers, which is, I'm sure, a little bit. I'm sure Kingdom Come devs thought that this would do a little better than it did. we'll see how it goes by the weekend when traditionally the most people play it. But 180,000 is not bad, you know. It's in that realm of like not incredibly successful, but did very well, like Space Marine 2. It's like it's a success. It's gonna be a success. But is it like Baldur's Gate 3 level? Ugh. It's not really a phenomenon as far as I can tell. Here, let's see what the fucking Steam DB's at. This is a pretty regular time of day for people to be later in the afternoon. Steam DB Kingdom Come 2. Yeah, so I mean, like, this is a game that's going to generally probably do pretty good. But at the same time, okay, so it's at 143,000. It's tampered off a bit. It has, throughout the day, is at 180,000, 160,000 its first night day, almost up to 190,000 today. So I mean, it's doing pretty well, I would say, is all things considered. So I mean, you get good reviews, you're gonna get a good game. If it was full of trans people and non-binary rights, and it was, telling you about Henry's pronouns and picking that, you would have a massive amount of people going on after it. And I was like, okay, so this is a negative review. Let's see what this one is, because this person looked like they threw this at them. This was pretty disappointed, buggy. I mean, that's another reason why you want to wait. I played The Witcher 3 at the perfect time ever. I'll fight anybody on this topic ever. The best time to play games often is about 2 years after it come out. You got, especially big open world games with potentially lots of content. You get all the content DLC. You get all the mod support you want. You get all the bug fixes that come along with it. The perfect time to play games, honestly, is usually a year to two after they come out. You get them on sale, So I mean, bug. I have to start over because I killed a groom, and so there's lots of choices. I feel like they've been barely tested at all. I hope they fix. So this person actually seemed to have problems. And there's a lot of fighting around this. This seems like someone who just didn't like the game, I don't know, it's weird. It's really weird, but I mean, I've seen some people have some legitimate concerns, and some people say it's the best game ever. So I mean, it's not something that has a massive hatred towards it. And that's how you know that they were a little soft on this wokeness stuff. While I maintain they probably added a little bit into there. It's highly suspect that there's just those two scenes so far that have been egregious. And they're pretty egregious woke scenes. Gay sex with Hans, which the first game would have never indicated that he'd do that. And the African merchant part, which I fully think would be historically accurate, and those times there would be so many people coming and going from different cultures. There would be high amounts of discrimination, even way worse than it was today, including all manner of badness that they would be involved in. Like, as horrible as it was back then, if you were in a gay or lesbian relationship and the church found out at certain periods of time, they would probably execute you, and that's horrible methods, because they probably wouldn't have sometimes hanged you. Sometimes it would be blasphemous. They burn you at the stake. People were terrible during the medieval times, and it's just something that is a part of human history. And so I'm not seeing a lot of negative reviews in here like woke, all you have to do is talk about pronouns. I'm not seeing any of that. So you know that there's something In the first game, you get multiple of those related things, weird remarks toward character from women having sex with them, like a girl not satisfied and I don't like it. So, this is a person who seems to have legitimate concerns about the wokeness in it. So, let's see what they say. Sadly, I cannot recommend Kingdom Come 2. In the first zone alone, we can encounter multiple examples of DEI things, weird remarks towards the main character from women after having sex with them, like one girl is not satisfied. That doesn't seem DEI. Another example is, I don't want spoiler, if you're even talking about those things beforehand, I tell us the culture treats women. Same person. So tiring, man. Ugh, Fall Diamond, what a shame. So this sounds Stealth God there, Dan. Yeah, yeah, that's funny. So, like I said, the same things come up. You know, they're saying Henry should have lots of women around him. Women are like, this is just something that they like to do. Any win the left will take, they'll just run with. And at the end of the day, yeah, culture. What culture war brain rot does to Golden comment Henry for Ward comments. That could be a Warhorse fucking bot account as well. But these are the kinds of things that you're seeing in today's gaming industry. Now, let's take a game like Veilguard. Let's take a game like Suicide Squad Kill of the Justice League. These games are purposely, arrogantly, incredulously, horribly, hatefully putting in DEI garbage that is purposefully unadulterated and just completely bizarre. So I mean, you're not seeing that. Now, Red Dead Redemption 2, best game of all time. You know, I'm sure there's at least some things in there, and there's of course landing your main character friend. You know, like, so there are ways. If you want representation, fine. Work them into a story like Red Dead Redemption. Take Two Interactive knew that they couldn't go around making evidence, but lots of parts of Saint Denis are historically accurate. There's a huge economic zone where you have the rich, affluent peoples of the inner city, you know, walk around the stage and then you go into the slum zones and there's more African people. It's representing history in a way that it would have been, as opposed to just like if they made Kingdom Come and Red Dead and you know there's people everywhere and it was all about that. History was diverse, whether you like it or not. Yes, Bohemia didn't have you know, gay people and trans flags everywhere, but you know, people were always this way, and certain places of the world, to a harsh degree, that if you look in a place like modern communist China, they're not going to allow massive pride parades. Like, that just doesn't happen, you know. So history and the reality of nature, or the reality of like history and presenting these things, really matters. And then you got a game like Veilguard where there's just like, it's just over the top. It's what I refer to as over the top wokeness. But you know, you gotta wonder. You you gotta wonder if there was some amount of it into this. They saw, Embracer Group saw an absolute hit on their hands. Has Kingdom Come Deliverance been an absolute hit? It's done good. It's gonna sell probably 5 million, 3 million more or more copies. So it's a success for the development, but was it this groundbreaking movement? Maybe not. The first game was pretty obscure, and beloved, but you know, Embracer Group may have come and presented themselves to these guys and being like, we know you got a hit on hand. It's a renowned game for being historically accurate and not featuring modern politics. We want some of this in there. Here's X amount of $1 million, and they probably said yes. But they were also probably with them saying, we want some of this. We want this to retain its authentic feel. Let's work with what we can and can't put in there. But that's probably happening a lot in the gaming industry right now. is that there's probably a lot of this going on where people are saying, yes, let's not have. Here, what's a really bad one? Spider-Man, but very woke. Mary Jane is Squidward chin as a girl boss, and they fully replace Peter Parker. Avowed. Most likely DEI mandated by Microsoft. For example, in Irvers, you can see pronouns is a bad one. Starfield, fuck. Oblivion, watch Elder Scrolls 6, you're gonna be fucking picking the pronouns of your goddamn Argonian. How ridiculous does this shit get? But it's the example of how they do these things, is that, like, Starfield, you can come in, you can choose to ignore the pronouns, and you get a mostly intact space adventure with maybe some questionable DEI-inspired stories. But overall, they're not going to be shoving woke garbage, yeah. Girl boss, women can never fail type stuff in your face. At least they're not. Veilguard, very woke game. They try to save it with a less than that, getting edgy, but the wokeness is still there. Games like Veilguard. This game slaps. So there's different gradings of how people are pissed. I mean, it's pretty obvious why this is DI slop. I mean, this Dustborn was a game. It's like I said, this is the worst spectrum. This is the spectrum where they make it all about DEI, they put it in your face, and the whole central theme of the media is to piss you off about this fucking leftist bullshit. So, I mean, there's scales. The point of this video, if anybody's seeing, is that there's different scales of this, and true gamers can smell it. They can just smell it and call them. Fucking Gollum fucking failed. That's so funny. And you know what? Now with that USAID stuff, lots is going to be opening up. They've found that this stuff was mandated. It's the government is putting money into making this stuff. Very diverse Ultramarines. Yeah, no, that's funny. I found it interesting how in Space Marine 2 they picked the 3 dominant races in humanity: white, black, Asian. The 3 types. All other races are divulged from those 3. So I found it interesting that for that the representation for humankind is the 3 dominant races on Earth: white, black, Asian. All others are those are the 3 completely different, you would say, ethnicities of humankind. So that's almost like biblical in the way they did that, which I find fascinating. So things like that, like, you cannot go into this shit thinking that anything with a black character, anything with a gay character, anything with an Asian character, anything with a woman, anything with this, anything with a lesbian, anything with that is inherently bad. There's different grades of how they're doing this. If they do it just to... If they're doing this, Flintlock, Sweet Baby is involved. Yeah, and I mean, then you have consultancy companies, which is more than likely Kingdom Come had a consultants working on the game. You have these companies saying, how can we put this in the game? How can we incorporate it in the game? And they're given different levels of powers and what they could do. And that it all comes down to money, baby. All these motherfuckers out there, they all fucking just want a little money. And when there's government spending USAID money like this, like, here we go, give the representation, millions of dollars, there's going to be a trail of scumbags that try and fucking capitalize on that. And this is the truth of wokeness. We're getting down into the deep levels. I cannot wait to make fun of this game. It's just going to be great. This is This is, as I would describe, South of Midnight is terminal wokeness. Like, you can just tell by looking at it. So compare that to a game like Kingdom Come, the Steam page. Compare that to the page of that. Yeah, no. So, I mean, Henry's not. There's there's nothing that shouts to me to exclaim that this is woke from these pictures. If this was like terminal wokeness, you'd see there'd be like, oh, there's got some people there, and fucking there's that. You got good Christian values here. So what I'm saying is that there's a scale of this, and look out for that scale, because there's they're gonna start sneaking this in their stuff. They want this. They know that gamers only want true experiences. They know it and they hate it, but they have to live within the confines of what gamers want. And Kingdom Come Deliverance is a game where, they skirted the line, but they probably did it in a way that is made them all extremely rich if they weren't already going to be rich off it already. And sure, they shoveled some of that in and stirred up the culture war. So, I mean, that is amazing follow-up to the first of my topic. So it's going to be a good game. Don't listen to the fucking idiots out there. Because there is people out there who just hate those other people. They just hate. They'll go back to the 1982 film, goddamn The Thing, and they'll say it's a bad movie because it's woke because it has Childs and Knowles in it. And that is just the dumbest statement you could ever have. So that's my rant for today, and I hope you enjoyed.